Hey pre-calc, in this video we're doing 7-1 day 2, graphing and putting into standard form. So if you remember your steps for graphing, you want to look at your p-value, determine if it's x squared or y squared, determine your vertex, solve for your p-value, and then use your p-value to find your focus and directrix, and then graph it all. So let's just start by graphing a slightly harder problem since I don't believe we did this the other day. So example, we're going to get a graph, I'll just say given, x minus 2 squared equals negative 64 times y plus 7, graph, and whatever, we'll just say graph. Okay. Don't know why I need to say given, but whatever. Alright, so first thing we should do, remember listing everything, is determine what the direction of our graph is. So if we look here, it's x squared, so that means it's facing upwards or downwards. And then we have a negative p-value. So that means that we are opening down. Okay. All right, the vertex. The vertex is x comma y, and it's going to be opposite. So because it's minus 2, the x value is going to be positive 2, and the y value will be negative 7. Then we want to figure out the p-value. So we know that negative 64 is going to equal 4p. And negative 64 divided by 4 is negative 16. Now that we have the p-value, we're going to use that to help us find our directrix and our focus. So because our vertex, right, is going to be here, the focus is inside. And so that means that the x value is going to stay 2, right? But the y value is going to have that p-value distant between the vertex and the focus. So we're going to do negative 7 and then subtract 16. So that'll be negative 23. And then our directrix. Similar, right? So from the vertex, we're going to take the p-value and we're going to go the opposite way. And so if we're at negative 7, we want to go up 16. So that means we're going to be at 9. And it'll be y equals. Okay. So we've got our shape, vertex, p-value, focus, directrix. Now we need to graph. The graph's not ideal with those numbers, kind of large, but that's okay. For our graph, I'm just going to make kind of like I'm going to just set like kind of random scale, I guess. It's going to be a tough one to make. So I'm going to leave I'm not going to make a scale for this one. I'm just going to mark values. So we know that we have an x value of 2 that we care about. And then we have one for negative 7. And then somewhere down below we're going to have a negative 23. And then up above, I'll just put it here, I guess, we're going to have a 9. So ideally, you would be graphing this more accurately, but I'm not going to for this video. So directrix is going to be a horizontal line, y equals 9. The vertex is at 2, negative 7. and then the focus is at 2, negative 23. And then I'm just going to make a parabola opening up towards that focus point. And there you have it. So there's one type of problem where it's graphing from standard form. Now another kind of problem that you could have, and this is where we're getting a little bit more challenging, is you might have to complete the square. So let's do one of those. So let's just say graph, or put into standard form, I guess, although you'd have to do that anyway. Put into standard form and graph. And that's going to be y squared minus 8y plus x equals negative 18. Okay, so in order to put this into standard form, we need to keep the concept of whatever squared is going to be on one side and then everything else is going to be on the other. So because this x is over here with the y squared, this is what we're going to want to basically complete the square of, right? Because it's already squared. So the first thing I need to do is move that x to the other side. So I'll have y squared minus 8y equals negative x minus 18. Okay, now we need to complete the square. So as we reviewed, to complete the square we need to do negative b over 2 squared. So negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to do y squared minus 8y plus 16. Because I added 16 on the left side to complete the square, in order to keep my equation balanced, I need to do it to the right side as well. So we have negative x minus 18, and don't forget to add 16. So now on the left side, we're going to factor this, and we get y minus 4 squared. And then on the right side, we want to combine terms. So negative x and negative 18 plus 16 is negative 2. Now we're not quite there because we need to factor out what is going to end up being our p-value. Remember, whatever, right, this always for standard equation, whatever's left over, whether it's x plus something or y plus something or whatever, the x or the y are completely by themselves. So we need to factor out whatever coefficient is here. In this case, it's just a negative 1. So standard form is going to be y minus 4 squared equals negative, in parentheses, x plus 2. Okay. So now we're going to graph, and we need to go through the list like we did above. I would encourage you to pause the video and try to do this on your own. I'm going to start with looking at my p-value and if it's x squared or y squared. So we're y squared, so that immediately means we're facing left or right. And then our p-value is negative, so that means that we are opening up towards the negative values. The vertex is x comma y, so negative 2, comma 4. That tends to throw students off because you want to go from left to right, but you have to go with the x value and then the y value. Solve for p, so 4p equals negative 1. So p is just going to equal negative 1/4, which means my focus is going to be to the left, so I'm going to take negative 2 and then subtract negative 1/4. I'm going to write it as a decimal, negative 2.25, comma, and the y value will stay the same because the focus is just inside, so y value doesn't change. For directrix, same idea, except now we're going to go to the right. And because we're y squared, it's going to be a vertical line, so it's x equals, and then if I go to the right by 1/4, it'll be negative 1.75. Okay, we could even do the axis of symmetry. I guess we didn't do that above. You need to know the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry, because it's going to go through the vertex, but horizontally, it will be y equals 4. Alright, so now let's graph all of that. This one I'm going to graph more accurately, so we need to go up to 5, I guess. And over to negative, I don't know, 3. I'm going to go to negative 4 because I feel like it looks weird. It's still kind of small, but whatever. Better than that first graph. Okay, so now I'm going to graph everything. So where's my directrix? Negative 1.75, so this is negative 1. About here, I guess. And then my vertex is at negative 2, positive 4. And then my focus is at negative 2.25, so negative 1, negative 2.25. So close to the vertex. And then make our parabola. And we are good. So complete the square to get your equation, follow all your graphing steps, graph it.